Hey guys, it's Jessicat from Jessicat's Medi-Spa with the lovely Sharon Lugget-Hassell. Guys, we shot this video a couple of months ago, yeah?
Yes.
And my sound equipment, not so good. And that was a little bit heartbreaking because Sharon was sharing her experience of a really traumatic life event. It's just inspiring and just makes you thankful for every moment. So share with us, Sharon, what happened?
Well, the day started like any normal one. At the time I was doing my personal training business, which I used to drive from rurally, you know, so 80 kilometres or 100 kilometres to my next location to do classes. So I was just heading off like I would normally, left one location on my way, and along this particular road, which previously, for some unknown reason, I'd never seen any kangaroos. This particular day there was a kangaroo decided I was on the side of the road, not actually on the road, on the side of the road.
So this was out of the way kind of road?
Yes.
Dirt road?
It wasn't a dirt road, it was bitumen, but it was only so that if you had another car coming to pass you, you could only have like your right hand side wheels actually on the bitumen, the other side would have to be up on the gravel.
Yeah.
So you've only got like half a road when you've got somebody coming the other way. At the time there was nobody coming the other way, which was fine, so I was on the road. And this kangaroo was bounding like alongside, parallel as I was driving. He was coming out the hill, and I slowed right down, and then it came to the crest, towards the crest of the hill, and then I thought I'll just speed up to get over the hill, and I sort of veered a little bit off because you can never see traffic coming the other way until the last minute. And just at that moment, the kangaroo decided to come bounding across in front of me, so I probably oversteered a little bit off. You know, off the normal road, and try to bring it back onto you so that two wheels would be back on the bitumen, but it didn't result in that way. I was off onto the gravel. The car, because I sped up to come up the hill, had become like a little bit out of control on the gravel, and then took off, like became airborne. So straight ahead of me, all I could see was trees, massive big trees, really huge trees, and I'm thinking, what the hell am I going to do, basically? And so all I could think of, and I don't know why, I pulled the handbrake on, wrenched the steering wheel as much as I could over to the right, seeing these, you know, massive tree, this particular one coming out towards me. And the horrible thing of it all was because I was airborne, you're sort of knocked down at this level, you're sort of halfway up the tree. So, and then I actually hit the tree, and at that stage I did, got knocked out, and the car dropped down to the, you know, sort of the land or the ground level. Yeah. And then the next thing I knew, there was people, I don't remember anything very much about that, and then there was people who were calling, are you all right? Is anyone there?
And that's where you came to?
I came to, and tried to open the door, got the door open, went to go out, and tried to stand and fell flat on my face because my leg had been my knee had been broken, I couldn't stand up. And there's two fellas, they were actually from the local shire, the Shire of Northam, who had come, and they didn't actually, I don't know, I think all the universe gods or somebody was looking after me that day because they didn't normally come along that road, and for some particular reason they decided to go along that road. You would never see my car from the road. Yeah. They saw the tracks and they'd seen the dust and they wondered what was going on, and luckily for me they came over and, you know, sort of checked it out, saw my car, saw me trying to get out of the car. So they immediately rang the SES and the ambulance. So the ambulance turned up quite quickly, and then they sort of did a bit of I didn't think anything was wrong apart from my leg. I couldn't see in the mirror, so I didn't realise my face was all, you know, sort of bruised and battered.
So you didn't realise anything was wrong. You knew that you'd been in an accident, but you're still kind of trying to walk around.
Yeah, at the time, I didn't realise that there was anything really wrong with me, other than I thought I'd injured my knee and my leg in some way. Anyway, so they got me, the ambulance turned up, the people that had arrived, the two fellows, and I was asking for water. I was really, really thirsty, and they said, no, we won't give you any water until they've come and checked you out. Yeah. And I thought, oh fine, I'll probably get one in 5 minutes, I'll be all right. Because it was a very hot day, it was the middle of summer, it was January, 7th of January. I remember the date, I remember the time. Never forget that day. No. Anyway, cut a long story short, the ambulance turned up and they did an assessment of what, I couldn't breathe, but I thought it was just because I was puffed out and it was hot and I was, you know, thirsty. But apparently all my ribs had been broken with the impact. My airbag didn't go off. So that is why a lot of the
All
damage...
of your ribs?
At the front here, not so much the back, yeah. Yeah, particularly this side. And also, which is something I didn't realise until I spoke to my surgeon after the event, if you survive in a catastrophic accident, which I did, he said quite often a lot of the damage is actually done by the seatbelt. That seatbelts are appallingly designed, because that is what caused a lot of the injuries to me. It caused me my bowel to rupture my bowel and ruptured my colon. My hips were broken.
That was the seatbelt that did that?
Seatbelt, it comes across like this and here. So right where it came across, and because I had no bib with no airbag, it was just sort of, it pulled extra tight, and I was thrown forward with the impact of the vehicle and the speed.
And it
just dug in. So I actually had bruises from my hips here right up to my shoulders, all the way around for about 3 months. They just faded in different colours. It was sort of purple, and then it lightened off into light blues and greens and yellows and everything eventually. But it was, yes, very colourful. But the ambulance people did an assessment, and then because of all the injuries that they could determine, they called in the RSC helicopter. That came down, and they carted me off in that. And there was a fellow there, he had his hand here on me all the time, and I thought, I must have a broken hip or I've done something there. I didn't realise until afterwards, but actually the seatbelt had severed my artery here. He had his fingers in there, stopping me from bleeding to death. So
that's why you were thirsty.
That's why I was thirsty, yeah. So, his fingers are literally inside my veins, stopping me from bleeding to death. And I didn't realise that until a lot of people told me different stories that were involved in my rescue. There was fire and rescue, and there was police, and there was the ambulance people and stuff. But there was this particular fellow who was one of the SES guys that came out on the day. I ran into him in the supermarket months later.
Yeah.
And he just sort of stared at me. I thought, what is he staring at me? And then my husband came around the corner and he said, oh, hi, and he said, I can't believe your wife's here. And he said, it is your wife, isn't it? And Colin said, yes. And he said, why? And he said, I sat there when she had her accident, and I didn't think she was going to make it because I had my fingers stuck in her veins, stopping her from bleeding to death. So, it was just all the like the powers that be. And I'm not a religious person, but I do believe that you do things right in life, and you do the right thing by people, it will come back to you. You give out good karma, you will get good karma back. Sometimes you get bad, but that's life. We all have that. But anyway, cut a long story short, so then it was off to Royal Perth Hospital. And
did he check on you later on?
No, he actually had an accident himself and then got killed.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes, he was on a motorbike, and for some stupid reason, he said he normally just wore jeans and, didn't put his leathers on. But somebody told him to put his leathers on this day. He was driving down, he was down near the lakes on the main Great Eastern Highway, heading down the hill down towards Mundaring. And he got clipped by a car and pushed under a truck. And all his hips were broken, similar to what mine were, and his shoulders and his chest and everything got broken as well. He'd been in hospital for probably in different hospitals to me, but at different times.
Well, you were recovering.
Well, I'm recovering, yeah.
And you'd think, being an ambo, he would not ride motorbikes.
But luckily he had his
leathers and everything on
and stuff on, because I guess he would have got a lot worse damage than what he did.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He must have wanted to check on you.
Yeah, probably, yeah. But I think sometimes they say sometimes they don't always want to know, because not always do people pull through.
Yeah. And it would be hard to know.
And it is hard, when you think,
at least you can live with hope.
Yeah. And I think a lot of them have that kind of a mindset as well. But anyway, off to Royal Perth Hospital, and then they rang my husband, and then he called my daughter, and they both met in Royal Perth, and I don't remember any of this. I was right out of it. And then they said they told him that they had to do quite a few surgical procedures. They didn't know if I was going to survive.
Oh, jeez, poor
and he wanted to just stay there and wait in the waiting room, and they said, no, you can't do that. And he said, oh, no, I will wait. I need to be here where she is. And they said, no, you can't. If you're not going to leave, we'll have to call security. So then he started to drive home, but he said he was so overwrought with everything. He was driving up the wrong way, up the Great Eastern Highway. Yeah, he said, I pulled out and he said, he'd stopped to get something, I think it was at a garage or something. And he said, and I was driving, and then all these cars were coming towards me, and he said they were beeping their horns, and he said, and then I realised I was going on the wrong side of the road, you know. Going
That's
around.
crazy. They should have a place in the hospital where
I
they
would
could
have
just...
thought they
Yeah.
would have, you know, especially in critical, you know, when it's a critical situation, you know. Even if the worst situation was to happen, he would have still wanted to have been there to have said goodbye to me,
Of
you
course.
know. So, but anyway, that's
Humans.
yeah.
Yeah, sometimes we suck.
We do.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was.
So you came out of that first operation.
Came out of the first operation. I had a bit of paralysis. I had a lot of
Just little itty bit of paralysis.
bit of paralysis in my back with nerves. My sacrum was broken
Yeah.
and fractured, and that in turn stopped me from being able to urinate normally. So I had to have a catheter.
Yeah.
So I had, unfortunately, a catheter for 14 months, and that was sort of like probably one of the worst situations you can go through, because you have ongoing urinary tract infections caused by because it's a foreign body, it's not meant to be there.
Yeah.
And because you've got a catheter there, then that causes the irritation, so they can't actually give you anything to stop the urinary tract infections when you have a catheter.
So you just have to put up with that irritation?
Yeah, sometimes they will give you a sort, depending on the severity, and there was different types that they measured it from the samples and things that they took. But that is a known thing that you do, and you have this particular one urinary tract infection or bug that you get, and you have that in your bladder all the time while you have a. So it's an ongoing, and we all know how sore a urinary tract infection.
Yeah.
So you're living with that every day. And then of pain and everything, trying to heal and everything. And then I had
you could walk.
I could walk a bit. Not at first. I had to just be on a wheelchair because this leg was pretty smashed. And
of course.
Both broken.
Yeah, you know.
Yep. And then lost a lot of weight because of all the surgery and everything. My stomach. I've always had IBS, but then I've got a lot of scar damage from all the surgery that they've done, and that sort of compounded a lot of the problems of trying to eat. I was in a lot of pain all the time, lost some weight. Subsequently, my sodium levels fell, and then I was actually in hospital because my catheter wasn't working the way it was supposed to.
So you'd left the hospital,
Yeah,
you were doing some recovery at home.
Yeah, this is sort of like nearly a year later, actually. It's probably, it was about 3 days short of a year from when I had the initial accident.
And how long were you wearing the catheter?
15 months.
Oh, Jesus, babe.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, so I was in...
So you went back in?
Went into, this time it was to the northern emergency section.
Okay.
And I was actually lying there on the bed waiting for the doctor to come in. He came in and they chatted. So he chatted to my husband and everything. He went away, he got called away, and then I don't recall this. This is sort of like, again, another part that I don't remember, but apparently I sat up in a catatonic state, looked straight ahead, dropped back, straight back on the bed, my eyes rolled back in my head. My husband called out for the doctor to come, and then I had 3 or 4 seizures straight one after the other. The problem being because I've got osteoporosis in my family, my muscles were still really strong from all my PT work, but my bones had got soft, and because I hadn't been able to exercise the way that I would normally, according to the orthopaedic surgeon at the time, my bones were like soft cheeks, like camembert cheeks. They were that soft. So what happened was, as my body convulsed, it was sort of like doing a back bend. So my body was going up like that and bending me back. So I broke my back and broke my hips, got broken again.
So you just snapped back.
Snapped, yeah. And I was apparently screaming. Apparently, I don't remember this, but there was other people who were in there at the same time and could hear me screaming because the pain, like everything was being broken. Anyway, so back to Royal Perth Hospital and was there for a short amount of time, and then they sent me back to Northern Hospital, and I had to stay there for 3 months as an inpatient basically, which was probably one of the hardest things. It's hard enough recovering at home, but when you're not even in your own home and everything, it's pretty hard. But anyway, the time went past. I mean, it was, and we
You were
tried
there for a couple of months?
Yeah, for 3 months. And then got let out of hospital, and I was trying to get into see if I could try to do self-cathetering so that I didn't have to have a catheter in all the time.
Yeah.
So I only need to empty my bladder myself.
Yeah.
But I need to have training how to do that. And sometimes you find someone in your life and they come hell or high water, they would do anything for you, they go to the nth degree. And that's what my husband did, because when I went in to do this training, I still had not very much flexibility and everything was still healing. After I'd been released from hospital, my bones, my hips and even my ribs and everything was still recovering from the initial, and they all got sort of quite damaged as well when I had the seizures. My husband came in with me and we met a lovely nurse, continence nurse, and she showed me, taught my husband as well. So he said if there's times that, she said if there's times that your wife might not be able to get the catheter in the right place, you need to be able to do it for her, because once we take this catheter that she's got in now out, you're going to be reliant on doing it yourselves so that she can pass urine, you know. Anyway, so and then again she actually was a brilliant person. I got to that stage, I got quite low, mainly because of there were a lot of dark things,
Lengthy recovery, a lot of pain. You're in a wheelchair.
Yeah, and just the ideas that people have, you know, of people who have a disability. Some people are very nurturing, they're compassionate. Other people are very unkind, and even people that I'd worked with, I'd see me in a wheelchair, and they'd say to my husband, "Oh, is she going to be all right? You know, is she get, you know, making indications like this sort of thing." It's hard.
You're sitting right there.
Yeah. I mean, you know me, Jess, I tend to sometimes use the old loose profanity.
Yes.
So sometimes reactions weren't exactly what they thought that they were going to get. You know, my husband at the time was he was so good, and, you know, he went, I think, more than anyone could ever expect their husband to do. I mean, he was there during the worst of it, saw me at my worst, had to put up with some of the lowest times of my life with me, go through with me, keep lifting me up, boosting me up, telling me I was going to, you know, I'll get back. And always at the back of my mind, the one thing I really wanted, I could probably live with not being able to do everything that I had previously been able to do, but the one thing I wouldn't have been able to cope with was not being able to just not have a catheter all the time. Yeah. So when he was in there and learning that with me, that meant so much to me. It was so special that he was prepared to go to that nth degree. And actually, the continence nurse said to me at the time, before you go to do, if you're feeling like you need to go to, you know, to have a pee, she said, let's use normal terms.
Yeah.
She said, if you're feeling like you need to have a pee, go to the toilet, see if you can go first before you use your catheter
yeah.
to do it yourself, your little glass tubes and things. So I tried that, and a couple of times it didn't work. Because I had to do like a day's training with her, which was fine, so that I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
And then, because you're going home, you're responsible for, you know, and there's, you know, like I'm trying to see with a mirror, you know, up inside your own body. It's quite horrendous.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Being a girl's so much fun.
Oh, it is, yes.
That'd be easier with a penis, right?
Oh, of course it would be. You can see it. You can see what you're doing.
Yeah.
You've got to get there with the mirror and to lead up here. And I mean, you know, even for my poor husband trying to have to feel around to do it, if I hadn't been able to manage, would have been, you know.
Oh, he's a good boy.
You could just about write a funny or a humorous take on the medical side of things and all the things you do. So anyway, cut a long story short, went home and had to do a catheter a couple of times just, you know, to release the urine that I had or the pee that I had. Went to sleep, woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I thought I'll just go and sit on the toilet before I wake hubby up to come and give me a bit of a hand to, you know, get the catheter thing and hold the mirror and all the rest of it. Anyway, so he was asleep in bed, and I got up and went to the toilet and sat there and thought, why don't you just go ahead and pee? You know, you're sitting there, you're not talking to my inner self.
Yeah.
Anyway, my inner bits. Why don't you just do the right thing? You know, I've been through enough, you know, feeling sorry for myself at 2 o'clock in the morning, probably looking like one as well. But anyway, and it was like, I know, that was a bit weak. And then when I realised, and it was like a real, and I felt like, it was like the flood doors. I felt like a camel, like it seemed like massive amount.
Yeah.
And I was just, I thought, I've got to bring the continence. I thought, I can't bring her at this time of night, you know, she wouldn't appreciate that.
No.
Anyway, so then again, I thought, I wouldn't wake my husband up, I'll leave it till the morning. Anyway, so it came to about 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock in the morning, I needed to go again. So I thought, I'll go to the toilet, see if I can do it again. And it worked, you know, I didn't have to use the catheter again and everything. So that was like a light shining moment. That was the main thing I could cope with, having breaks and not being able to do everything I had previously been able to do, but that was one thing I really wanted to get back. Just that
basic
human function that you do.
Yeah.
You know? And so, you know, I rang her at 7 o'clock in the morning and I told her, and she said, well, just once you have gone yourself, you've done your pee, she said, leave it for about 20 minutes, and then she said, still use your catheter just to check and see, because sometimes you might find there might be, you know, not enough has come out. So she said, you just do that for a couple of days, because otherwise you might end up getting a urinary tract infection. So she said, and I did that. So, and every time there wasn't enough in there to worry about. So she said, no, from now on, don't worry about using your catheter. Just make sure you keep yourself clean. But of course, all the hardship then it started with, because my actual body had been replaced with a tube for so long, it was like acid. Every time I peed, it was like acid.
Oh.
Because my body hadn't been used to having urine coming through it like that. There'd been a tube coming from my, so everything was really sore for a young. I mean, she was really good. She told me, you know, to use Ural and drink plenty of water and, you know, natural teas and things. And I've never been a great coffee. I love a good coffee, but I don't drink umpteen cups of coffee a day and stuff. But
so you kind of alkalize the urine? Yeah.
So that was a step forward. So from there, that was like, I can do this now. You know, like that was one of the major things, probably the least things that most people think about. I've got broken hips, I've got broken back. But that was the main thing that really started me thinking.
Were you walking by this time?
Yes, I was walking. I had been released from hospital. I was walking, not very well, but I was still walking with a frame.
Which was a big deal.
Yeah, from not being able to walk and being told I was never going to be able to walk again, to actually being able to walk again.
Who told you that?
One of the doctors said it in just in general conversation, and when I checked later, actually another conversation which I won't go into now, but a counsellor was sent to come and have a chat with me, and he happened to throw at me, well, how are you going to cope with being in a wheelchair for the rest of your life? You're never going to walk again. And I said, oh yes I am. And he said, no you're not. What happens then? And I thought, well, you're supposed to be trying to make me feel positive about myself. All you've done is destroy what little belief I had in myself that I was going to be able to walk again. So sometimes I wonder about the methods in some of these people. But anyway, not going to dwell on that. Just moving.
So you sent him on his way?
I did, with a few probably bluish clouds behind him. So, and I happened to mention to the staff never to let that person come anywhere near me again in the hospital. Yeah, but anyway, it is what it is, and at the end of the day,
you were able to pee?
I was able to pee, and that was probably, you know, like anything that I could do after that, it was a plus.
Yeah.
So when I could actually walk properly, when I could walk without having my frame, and when I could actually, you know, sort of start to stand up straight, my body become, because of the break in my back, very pigeon-chested. And so I was trying to sort of get my shoulders to stretch back and get more of a normal stance and posture, because I was really very hunched over, and I still got a couple of hernias which haven't been fixed as yet, but we're getting there with everything.
Yeah.
So so it's taken time, but I think I had some really, my two daughters and I have a very close friend, Deb, who was going through leukemia, and she had just beaten leukemia herself at the same time all this was happening in my life. She was in turmoil in her own life, and her brother had actually donated stem cells to give her life again. So she was, you know, and I thought, well, you know, she's got through sort of like, okay, I've got breaks and I've got all these other things, but she's got through, she's fought a battle against one of the
cancer,
diseases, and she's won it.
Yeah.
And I thought, she can do it, I can do it. I'm not going to give in. I've got kids, I've got grandkids, I've got my husband that want me back. I'm not prepared to give in. And that was sort of my, you know, like, I had those thoughts in my mind, well, at different times as I'm going through, but it's only, you know, like, sometimes you get so low with pain, and and other things, you know, you feel a bit sorry for yourself sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, like, why me? You know, I've always been pretty much a positive person. I've always given back to the community. I've always gone to, you know, to give classes and things and help people that needed to be helped, and, you know, women with breast cancer that, you know, I've done classes for them and given them the chance to laugh at themselves and be able to get their arms up at, you know, in the water where they've been butchered years ago. They had, say, cancer surgery 30 years ago, couldn't get their arm part. You get them into warm water in a hydro pool, and they can swim, they can move,
Yes.
they can talk, they can laugh, they can talk to each other about, you know, the things that women never had the chance to talk about when they were all going through the same thing, having cancer. They have a very dry vagina. How can I sort that out? How do you bring that up with a friend if they haven't gone through something that's similar?
Yeah.
And they could do it all in a great scenario. Laugh about it. Laugh how that they've got prostheses that they put in their bathers, and then when they're swimming and they float out. And the grandkids are laughing, your babies are floating away, Nana, your babies are floating away. So, I mean, out of the worst case scenarios and worst stories and hardships that people have been through, they still have funny thoughts and funny things they can talk about.
Yeah.
And that's what it's
They can
about.
find joy.
Yeah. You know, it's sort of like you think, I never expected that in my life. I always thought I was bulletproof, and you never expect any of this, you know, I never expect any of this to, you know, to happen to me, or to think that I don't have to go through any of this. Not once just with the accident, but then go through all the same palaver all over again with all the breaks and stuff, with the seizures and everything else.
Just one thing after the other, after the
And then
other.
I think, well, I've got through it, I've survived, and I can do it again, I can keep doing it, I can still, you know, anything else was to go awry, you know, you can still, you get out there and you just do it, you have to. And, you know, like as I was saying, my kids and my friend and my hubby, you know, the kids turned up, because I had to have Christmas in hospital, so one of them brought an inflatable Christmas tree, and we had Christmas lunch in the room, and the nurses were beautiful at Northern Hospital at the time. They, you know, they made it as cheery as they could for people that were stuck in there, and you just
Make the best of
you
it.
do. You have to make the best of a bad thing, and then pick yourself up and get over it,
Yeah.
and, you know, move forward. And I think my motto now is, you know, like you really don't know what. You can look at somebody and they may not be happy, or you may not have received, you know, like a smile back when you smile at them sometimes, but you have to also think, well, you don't know what they're going through themselves. You don't know that their mum's just passed away, or they've just had some catastrophic news, or that they're in a situation at home where they don't want to be. You know, there's a lot
Or
of
internally, mental illness, they can be going through some kind
Yeah.
of hell, and we just don't.
No. So just, you know, like I suppose my mantra now is just to try and either make people happy, to have a laugh. So I put silly things on my Facebook page, you know, to
I love your Facebook page.
let people have a laugh, but also put like something like put thought-provoking things in, you know, sort of so that, you know, people will think twice before they, you know, jump to a conclusion and judge about someone, and just be that bit of kindness. Be kind. Yeah, be kind. It's not hard. You know, and people will appreciate it. You know, the smallest gesture. You know, I've always been, because my mum used to always say to me, oh, you know, the cashier at the juicing said, oh, my hair looked really nice. So small things like that make the world to somebody. That was a big thing for my mum, you know.
Yeah.
And I think, well, if we can all do something small like that in people's lives and make their lives better because of it, why don't we?
Yeah.
So now the endocrinologist, they're quite happy about me. I do have, I am in an osteoporotic state, or osteoporotic state. My bone density is improving because of me doing exercise.
Good girl.
And eating all the right vegetables and lots of the, you know, the calcium and the stuff that you have naturally in foods and everything like that. And
you're doing all the right things.
Yeah. So
But it's incredible. Gives you a different outlook, doesn't it, sweetie?
It does. Yeah. And you know, like I think there's so many times, and probably about a fortnight before I actually had my accident, there was a lady that was driving along not far from where I had my accident, and she had a baby. Right, she was pregnant, and she was about 7.5 months pregnant, and she had a similar sort of a situation where she, I don't know, for whatever reason, she didn't make it, so I don't know, but she swerved and ended up hitting a tree, but both her and her baby perished.
No.
And I just thought, well, you know, like, for whatever reason, I wasn't meant, but it was, you know what was actually hard was everybody telling me that when I went to hospital and I had the initial accident,
Yeah.
I was told I had died 3 times on the operating table. Now the work that they did on me, they said, oh, we just did a quick job because we didn't think we were going to make it. So, you know, there was a lot of staples and things, and here they said it's like doing a proper reconstruction. They just put wire in, they wired the bits of the bone back together in my knee. And then as my knee started to repair, there'd be a bit sticking. You could just feel a bit, I'd have to push it back in and you'd feel these little bits. But most of them are out of, you know, I must have pushed them in far enough and now they, you know, it all works. It works like a proper knee and
that's good.
Things, but
hearing that over and over, I didn't expect you to make it.
No.
Oh my God, you're here. Yeah, I can't believe you're here.
And that's sort of like, I think that was but I was glad that I was here, but at the same time I kept thinking, well, you know, why does everybody, it's like they wanted me to not be here, you know, like, you know, and it's sort of like, that plays with your mind. There's so many things that, when you're vulnerable, that's what I'm trying to get across here, is I'm not looking for sympathy or empathy or anything like that. All I want is people to realise things that you say have such an impact on people.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're going to say something, then just say something nice and don't say something...
Be kind.
Or instead of it being, oh, we didn't think you were going to make it, or, you know, oh, you died 3 times. But they could have rephrased it and put, wow, you've made it.
I'm so glad that you're okay. You know, how are you feeling?
Yeah. I mean, they did say to me, if I hadn't been as fit as I was at the time, I would not have survived.
Yeah.
So that was a big plus.
So exercise, eat well, guys.
Yes.
And wear clean underwear, my grandma used to always say.
Yes.
Yeah, just in case.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mind you, they cut it all off when I got into the hospital.
So it
they
doesn't
just
really
cut
count.
everything off, so yeah, it didn't make any difference.
So how are you feeling now? How many years now after the accident?
So about 4.5 years now.
Yeah.
Since I had the accident. So probably that was all of 20 and half of 21 that were still, that was sort of like a period of my life I now try to put behind. And, you know, I've moved on and, you know, and...
You're travelling again with hubby?
Yes, I moved location, so up the coast and nice, beautiful...
Oh yeah, you've moved house?
Yeah, beautiful, yeah.
To Greenhead?
Yeah, nice little beach cottage, so we're not far from the ocean and we're off in our old motorhome doing our little train nomading bit.
Yes,
so,
and renovating their new house.
Yes.
Yeah.
And little Billy is on the way as
well. Yeah, Billy with the best voice. Yes. Guys, scroll down. You may have missed a post of, what was it, the most beautiful boy in the world?
Yeah.
Or
the best boy in the world.
The best boy in the world. Billy singing with his mum. It's too cute. Too cute.
He still sings. He was singing on the way here tonight. I'm a hopeless, if I'm bored or something, you know, in the traffic, I'm not used to traffic where we are. We just do not have traffic like this. So, of course, coming all the way from down Coburn or whatever, all the way up here, and you go for a while and then it slows right down. Anyway, so I'm singing songs because he's getting bored. Every time that the car starts to stop, he decides it's time to get out.
Oh.
And so I have to keep him singing, to keep him occupied, so he's not trying to scramble to get out the door. So we were singing all the way here, and I'm sure all the people that we drove past when they were waiting in their cars probably thought she's loopy. But
that's fine. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you made it.
Thank you.
And thank
I'm
you
glad
so
to
much.
be here too. And still enjoying your lovely
Yes.
treatments.
How old are you, beautiful girl?
67. Just turned 67. So.
Look at this! Gorgeous.
Well, this is you, Maria, with all your treatments.
So we're a team,
products.
aren't we?
We are.
We are a team.
Together.
Yes, we do. And what are your plans for the future, beautiful girl? Continue to renovate the house? You got a trip planned?
Yeah, we're hoping to take off again, go a little bit further north. We've been to Carragini before, and we want to go up there before it gets too hot, but while there's not too many. We like going to places for the places. We don't like to go where lots of people are all the time.
Get off the
We
beach.
love Kangaroo Island when we were over in South Australia recently because it was the wrong time of year. So there weren't many people around. So we could walk along Emu Beach, which is about 5 or 6 kilometres long. It's the most beautiful beach, and we were the only ones on it. apart from Billy, he was chasing birds. But yeah, it's just heavenly. It's just guys. I think people get back into nature, nature things. You know,
grounding.
Yeah,
Be out in the world.
yeah.
Yeah.
Barefoot on the earth or on the beach or in your backyard, wherever.
That's the most important.
Ground yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Simple things.
Yeah. Simple things in life are always the best.
Yeah.
And that's why. I think, because they're simple. They're not complicated. There's no hardship to them.
Like being kind.
Yes.
Yes.
Very kind.
Thank you so much, beautiful girl.
Welcome.
And I'm looking forward to seeing you in September for your next appointment.
Brilliant.
And let's finish off with a big bye guys.
See you.
Thank you so much.
That's all right.